Hello my loyal companions, welcome back to the channel and to another complete rogue guide. Today we're having a look at Talon. As always, we're going to be going over his weapons, abilities and perks. I'm then going to take you through an upgrade priority system so you know exactly what to buy when you're in game. And finally I'm going to give you some playstyle tips to play him a little bit more effectively. If you do go on to enjoy the video or learn something new, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. But for now, let's get into it. Talon is labelled as an intel rogue due to his main ability that we'll get onto in a second, but he is a lot more adaptable and a lot more versatile than just simply that. Like Ronin, Talon can be played in many different ways depending on the situation that he's needed for. He can be played defensively, offensively, and you can match his kit and upgrade his kit in different ways to sort of suit the different playstyles you might want to be going for. But let's break down his abilities, starting with his passive, which is called Mag Gloves. Now this is a very unique passive and one I haven't seen in many games, but what Talon can do is he can pick up objects from a range. So for example, say you down an enemy who's a little bit further away and you thirst them and then they have a sniper, say it was a phantom and you beat her in a 1v1 and you want that sniper instead of your pistol, you can switch to your pistol and then reclaim that item, reclaim that sniper from distance. You go and you drag it towards you. This is really good for allowing you to pick up equipment and move on the fly. Maybe there's a down piece of utility like a grenade or a flashbang that's on the ground that you might want for a situation, and so you can drag it without having to go over to the body and pick it up manually, which could put you at risk. You can stay in your cover, peek around the corner a little bit, grab it, come back, and then have it in your equipment. This has a lot of different uses, particularly one, you can pick up the bomb. If you're on attacking side and your team drop the bomb, they die, you can pick up the bomb from range, which can really get you out of some clutch scenarios. Moving on to his ability, which is Radar Dart, what happens is when you activate this, Talon pulls out a dart that can be thrown to pretty much any range depending on how you angle the direction that you're throwing it. And when it lands, it reveals an area in a 20-meter radius, so 20 meters one way, 20 meters another way, in a complete circle around the center of the dart. Enemies who walk through this area are tracked as little red dots on your mini-map. This is not technically a reveal like Dallas's ability. It will not pop them up on your main screen so that you can see them as they walk through it. Only on your mini-map you can see the red dots of them moving. This therefore means that it's counted by Ronin, who cannot be seen on that mini-map, but also it can be counted by Lancer when she pops her ability. I don't know if that's an intended mechanic, but it is currently within the game. If she pops her ability, she can run through your dart without being detected. Now though, we'll move on to his weapons and we'll start with his first primary weapon, the LMPX, which is a submachine gun, although can perform very well at some ranges with a fairly good time to kill and general good accuracy and low recoil throughout the different ranges. As you upgrade this to tier 1, you increase the magazine size from 30 to 40, you then increase the damage range at tier 2, and at tier 3 you increase the aim down sights accuracy. This gun is actually really good when you fully upgrade it, although currently I've been feeling it's a little bit lackluster and doesn't compete as well in the DMR meta. But generally it can compete in most situations, just in the current meta it's not as good, but when the DMR meta does die down, I think it will be a top-notch S tier weapon again. His other weapon though is the D3DI. This is a very powerful DMR, although it can feel a little bit clunky to use sometimes. It doesn't have a phenomenal fire rate, but it's not bad. But what really is good about this weapon is that it's a 2-shot headshot. So if you land those 2 headshots, you drop people really quickly, and that gives it a fast time to kill. If you're not hitting that and you're hitting body shots instead, then it's not as effective of a weapon. At tier 1 you increase the magazine size from 12 to 16, at tier 2 you increase hipfire accuracy and reduce the reticle bloom, and then at tier 3 you suppress its fire and reduce the recoil even further. The preferred weapon really depends on your situation. At the moment DMR meta is so strong, so the DMR may potentially be a better choice, but the LMPX is never bad, and depending on the map, depending on the situation, you can use either in my opinion. Onto his secondary weapons, he first has the P12K pistol, which is a compact silence pistol and actually is really good, has a very short time to kill if you can connect those 4 shots, or less if you hit some headshots in there, but it has a very fast time to kill. The only issue is that it only has 7 bullets and that really isn't enough. As you grow this to tier 1, you increase the hipfire accuracy and reduce the reticle bloom, and at tier 2 you increase the magazine size to 12, which is a lot better. It gives you the opportunity to kill at least 3 people rather than just 1. His other primary weapon is the melee weapon Katana, obviously with the more versatile melee weapon, because as you upgrade it, you increase the throw damage at tier 1 to 125, so it can kill through armor, and at tier 2 you increase the swing damage to 50, so it will 2-shot as a swing. Going on to Talon's gadgets, he has 2 pieces of really good equipment, starting with the C4. This obviously is the plastic explosive you throw down, and when it lands, you can detonate it remotely and then blow up, dealing massive damage. At tier 1, you increase the throw distance, which is very necessary after the nerf that it got, reducing its blast radius and throw distance. And then at tier 2, you increase the damage to 150. The other piece of equipment is the flashbang, and when you throw this and it detonates, it blinds enemies, causing a big white screen on them. That can be really effective for helping blind them so you can push. As you go this tier 1, you increase the throw distance, and at tier 2, you can hold a second one, so you can hold 2 in total. Now let's go on to Talon's perks. In the 4,000 category, he has Shredder Rounds and Padded Steps. In 6,500, he has Tenacity and Nimble Hands. And at 10,000, he has Tracker Rounds and Life Drain. Talon's perks are actually really good for him, I think. I think all of them pretty much have some sort of use and you can play around them depending on what playstyle you want to go for. Tenacity, obviously the best perk in the game currently, is a must, and Life Drain is great if you're looking to kill multiple people and really frag out on Talon. He also has Nimble Hands, which I think for his weapons particularly is really good, particularly that pistol and the SMG. Having Nimble Hands for the quicker reload is really good. Padded Steps helps him move around a little bit more silently, and Tracker Rounds, if you're not really able to thirst your kills so hard or not able to get the downs as much as you'd want, Tracker Rounds will at least help reveal enemies to your team. Now let's look at the upgrade priority system so you know what to buy when you're in game, and as always I'm going to start with the high priority, which are things you need to buy in this order, and then go on to the interchangeable, which are things you should buy when you get enough money for them, and you can kind of mess around with the order in which you want depending on the situation. Then you have low priority, which are things you don't really need throughout the game, but if you have spare money you could buy. And then of course I have the rounds next to it on the left that you're most likely to buy these on. Looking at the most noticeable features then, the first round you want to either pick up some form of utility, whether it be the C4 or Flashbang. For me personally, the C4 at the current place of the game, because it's not very strong in its first upgrade, you should probably use it on defense to hold a position or hold an angle, and use the Flashbang for offense when you're attacking to push a certain angle. It's up to you really, and depending on the map which one you want, but that would be my recommendation. C4 for defense, Flashbang for attack. You then want to pick up your primary weapon in round 2 and then focus on getting Tenacity as soon as possible and try and mix in getting the other piece of equipment in there as well. Getting both of the pieces of equipment is really good. Then as you move into the later rounds, it's kind of up to you how you want to play, and this is where experience with Talon will really help. You can either choose to go the C4 route and upgrade the C4 fully first, in which case you're probably looking to push and use that C4 really effectively, or you can choose to get the Flashbangs if you're really pushing angles a lot and you want to win 1v1s with the Flashbang. Likewise though, if you're really having to rely on your gunplay a lot, then maybe look at getting the full weapon upgrade first and then move into Life Drain so that you can bounce between fights really easily with a really strong weapon that is good at all the different ranges. For me personally, the way I've highlighted it here is the way I tend to run things. I like to get the C4 first upgrade if I can, because that extra throw distance really helps just land that C4 and you don't always in the early rounds need the additional damage from it. Then I try and upgrade my weapon fully because I do rely on the weapon a lot. Then I'll probably look to round off that C4 upgrade and then move into Life Drain. I really like Life Drain on Talon, as many Talons do, because it helps you just bounce between those fights, as I said, a lot easier. Then I personally do like getting both Flashbangs with the increased throw distance, so I will look to upgrade them at some point. And then from then on, you're probably not going to have enough money to buy anything else because they are quite chunky upgrades and quite costly upgrades that I mentioned. But if you do, you can move into things like Nimble Hands and Padded Steps, which I think are really good. And of course, at any point you can pick up the Katana, the melee weapon, if you are comfortable using that. Remember, you can reclaim it with Mag Gloves, so on Talon it is quite a useful piece of equipment because you can throw it, reclaim it, throw it at somebody else, and play off that sort of momentum. Now let's get onto some playstyle tips, and as always I'll start with his ability and how you could potentially use that more effectively. There are a couple of different options of how you want to use it. You can use it in 3 main ways that I really think. You can use it defensively on a flank to hold a particular route or hold a particular bomb site that you want to play on retake. Leave it on there so you see when enemies walk past it. Just be careful that Ronin can obviously be immune to this, and Lancer when she pops her ability, so don't rely on it too much if you know that they're on the enemy team, because a lot of the time Ronins will flank when there's a Talon because they're able to move through this dart without any trouble. That's one way using it for the flank. The other way is you could use it really aggressively onto where the enemy locations are that you know, just so you can see their exact movement, you know which corner they're trying to peek, and that way when you can use your Flashbang or C4 kind of effectively to just to clear those corners and then move through knowing exactly where those enemies are. And then finally, and the other kind of way that I think the better Talons will use this for, because it does come in connection with Mag Gloves, is they'll use it often to throw down, search an area, and then reclaim it so they can use it to search another area as well. And this constant movement, constant usage and reclaiming of the radar dart is what better Talons do to find out different areas, find different locations, rather than just leaving it in one place. They're thinking a bit more on their feet, they're using it a bit more adaptably, and just trying to find out locations often. Now, a very specific tip I have for Talon regarding his mag gloves is actually if you to go into your settings, go into controls, go down to the reload interact button and change it from what it normally is to press to reload and hold to interact. The reason I think you should do this is because with mag gloves, when you're trying to reload but you're accidentally looking at a weapon, you can often, if you're having to press to interact, pick up the weapon rather than reloading, and this can become quite annoying, particularly when you just want those extra bullets. So by changing it to press to reload and hold to interact, you can a bit more accurately decide exactly what you want to do with your weapons. I personally think you should do this if you're using Talon a lot. Personally, I don't. He's not my main pick for my particular rosters. I do use him occasionally, and it does annoy me when I am trying to reload my weapon and accidentally pick up a gun using mag gloves, but it kind of just depends on your preference. This is just one tip if you are personally getting annoyed with that you could change up. My next tip is about his equipment and kind of why Talon is so strong. Talon is really good at winning fights because he can win at least 2 1v1s every single round when you have both pieces of equipment. You can use a flashbang to blind an enemy and then move in on that position and get that easy 1v1 kill. And you can then go on to use your C4 to kill another person peeking around a corner 1v1. This makes him really strong, particularly on attack. You can use both of these methods to clear corners, and so he gets 2 free downs and generally 2 free kills if you're able to isolate into a 1v1 situation. His equipment is really strong, particularly the 2 best pairings in the game, other than maybe the grenade and smoke that Dahlia and Ronan have, but they have 2 different uses, right? The smoke and grenade are great utility for helping the team. The C4 and flashbang are great utility for helping Talon more than anything, and that's kind of the disparity there between them. I do think he is a really good piece of equipment, and you should be looking to use them and think about better ways to use them a bit more effectively. And my final tip for Talon is just to mess with your playstyle a little bit. I did say at the start, but he can be played defensively, offensively, just as intelligence, depending on how good you are with his dart and how good you are with his weapons, equipment, and how you prioritize your perks. Personally, I think he has a very good range of different things that he can do, and I think that you should be trying to explore them within game and think about what your team needs best. If you're trying to play a more supportive role, maybe opt for the longer range DMR with the flashbangs and C4, and maybe even get tracker rounds if you want to be full support defensive. If you're maybe looking to be a bit more aggressive, get that LMPX, get those flashbangs to clear corners, get life drains so you can bounce between targets, and play a bit more up forward that way, using the dart to reveal enemies on your close location. Okay then guys, that takes us to the end of the video, and if you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. You can also come follow me on twitch.tv/RadStarGaming, see live game commentaries, guides, Q&As, tournaments and scrims. All the links you're going to need are down in the description below, but for now guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless, and I'll catch you in the next video.